Welcome back to Passionate People and Preposterous Peeves. This is episode 99, and I don't know why I sound like a fish underwater. I'm your host, Ike, and before I sound like any more water creatures, I'd like to just take a moment and say thanks for being here and giving this pod a listen. You know, we as human beings have so much going on in our lives, and our time that we choose to use is so precious. So, as someone whose time is very valuable, I really appreciate you giving me and my guest a bit of yours. And if you have time after you've enjoyed this episode, please share this with someone who you think would also like it. Or just subscribe yourself if you already haven't. That'd mean a lot. And if you'd like to talk to me or talk at me, my Twitter is twitter.com/likeikes. And you can email me at passionandpeevespodcast@gmail.com. So, next episode's 100. Very excited. Hitting the triple digits. I'm going to make this probably short and sweet as I'm going to a Magic tournament here in not that long. And I got to drive across LA and I don't want to be late. Speaking of not being late, I was on time the last 5 days at work, which, if you know me, isn't like super rare, but it is impressive. And if you don't, now you know. And this literally included me quite literally running into work to be exactly on time. Which, I don't know if you've ever done that and gotten it. I got it at literally the last minute. I clocked in and it shows on our clock in thing the seconds, and it was 1 second to being like the next minute. Not that anybody at my work gives a shit, which is probably the funniest thing, is me running in, passing people who were just looking at me with their eyebrows raised. But clocked in, it was like Christmas morning. I was just so giddy for like a surprising amount of time. So I've been kind of enjoying that. It's a proud accomplishment that does and doesn't mean anything, but I've just been noticing that I decided to do it this week. And I think this came after we had a work meeting Monday, which is really cool because they brought in this kind of like, not health guru, but this like life coachy guy. And he provided it with not only a lot of cool and very, reasonable things that you could do, but also backed it up with data, which gives my brain some calm and respect and trust to exercises. The whole like, woo, is like, eh. But when it's like, actually, it doesn't matter what you think, this is the math, I'm like, oh. But anyhow, that has caused me to be meditating for 5 minutes a day, every single day, including after this, because I forgot to do it when I woke up this morning. But I've been really enjoying just taking a little meditation. And if you want to see what I'm meditating to, I'll try to remember to put it in the video description. But if not, just look up, if you just type in "fuck that meditation," I believe, yep, it comes up. It's by Jason Headley. It's 7 years old. It's got 18 million views, and it is just, I can't tell you. It makes me smile. It brings a joy to my day. So if you want to try my meditative thing, just do belly breathing, where you put your hand in your tummy and you just let your belly go in and out to its like maximum, just like kind of calming. And listen to that for a couple minutes and have a big old smile on your face like I do when I start my day. And I kind of been needing a big old smile on my face because I'm working with a lot of students as I'm 2 weeks? 2 weeks until I am 12 days away until we're just done with school. Which, yay, because going to break. But for a lot of people, this is their opportunity to graduate, and a lot of people are in crunch time. And as I work at a charter school, a lot of them are, let's say school isn't their favorite place to go. And this was not their first or probably second choice of schools. Not that the school is bad. I love the school. It's great. A lot of great teachers. However, a lot of the students that come to it need cajoling, to say the least. And there's so many students that I've been working with and seeing in our school this week that they, in quotes, want to graduate. Like they say with their mouth that they want to graduate, but then their actions show me that they have very little true interest. And it's very bizarre. Including even some of the ones that I would consider academically inclined and where they kind of enjoy learning. They're still just, and I don't know if it's change of scenery being scary or what is it, but really hope for those kids. But it's very interesting to see somebody say one thing and so clearly do another, as if it is kind of one of those things of like it's kind of like watching an animal try to be sneaky, or watching, very much that, like, when the dog just does that look like, who, me? Like, it's like literally have seen that visual from kids this week. It's like, bruh, this is our job for some of these. I am the most freshman in the whole joint, and it's apparent to me. It is glaringly apparent to every teacher in there, and it's just so funny to see them continue to try the most weak ass shit you've ever when it comes to like being dishonest. I'm just like, what are you talking about? It's like, motherfucker, we all we all know. Like, stop. It's so funny and a little sad. But something that isn't sad is my interview with my guest today. Today I have a recommendation of a recommendation. I don't remember where it's getting all the threads are getting tied. I don't have a wall big enough to show all the connections at this point. But friend of a rec or whatever. We've got Daniel DAYAO. So please enjoy the interview. Ladies and gentlemen, you're in for a treat. Today, I've got the first fifth grader out in the 1993 Vallejo Spelling Bee, the interviewer of the carrier of the cinematic One Ring, and crier at every episode of American Idol. It's Daniel DAYAO!
Oh man, that's awesome, dude. I'm so glad to be here. Thank you, Ike, for having me on the show, man.
It's my pleasure, sir. But before you get too excited and too comfortable, what was your first concert and what was your best concert?
Oh man, my first concert. I'm actually kind of embarrassed to like say this, but I'll do it. I don't really care. I've always been a fan of boy bands, and when I was young, I was a huge fan of New Kids on the Block, dude. So,
Hell yeah.
oh man, like
Say it loud, say it proud.
yeah, no, it's sad. Thing is, like, as a kid, I used to get like $1 a week for allowance, and back
Feel
then
that.
when I was young, it cost like $8 for like a cassette tape,
Yep.
and I saved 8 weeks of allowance to be able to buy 100
Dude.
yeah, so
Love it.
yeah, and my parents, as a surprise Christmas present, man, they took me to New Kids on the Block concert. So
Woo!
yeah, that was my
I love that commitment.
yeah,
That's true fandom right there. Saving
yeah.
8 weeks allowance to get a cassette. Yeah,
That's
buddy.
a long time, man.
It is. On the plus side, back then, a lot less music was being made. So
That's true.
you weren't bombarded with costs. All right, so that was your first concert. Love it. Love the commitment. Love the wind up. What was your favorite concert you've ever been to, my guy?
Oh man, my favorite concert, dude, was the I think it was Blink-182, Green Day, and Jimmy Eats World.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, that was.
Let's go.
Yeah, that was like
It's some peak late 90s, early 2000s, like just alt rock. Love it.
oh, dude, it was so good, dude. Like the mosh pits, the bruises after, it was fantastic, dude.
Yeah. It's memorabilia that you wear on your skin for free.
Oh, it is, man.
What?
For sure.
Dude, today I was driving home from work listening to Jimmy Eats World. Love that band, man.
So
Love
good,
it.
man. So good.
Get all that angst. I'll get all that white boy, life's not fair, but I still got a milkshake. Angst. Just like out of your system. It's so great. I love it. Speaking of eating the world, what's your favorite meal to make just for yourself, assuming cost and time are not relevant factors?
Dude, you know what? Lately, it's been pizza rolls, man.
Hell yeah.
It is like it's something I used to eat a lot, early college years, dude. But lately, like I just been eating lots of pizza rolls. And especially since I'm on spring break right now because I am a teacher. So
Yeah,
this
boy.
this past week I've been at home just like Netflix binging and eating pizza rolls by the bag, which has not been too sexy for my stomach. But I'm married. My wife's gonna love me, for better for worse. So I think she's down with it. It's cool. It's cool.
Well, as you've been watching many a movie, do you have a favorite movie line that you're liking to quote about this time?
Oh gosh, dude, Happy Gilmore's my favorite movie of all time. So one of my favorite lines was by Ben Stiller's character where he says like, "How about a warm cup of Shut the Hell Up?" That's one of my favorites. My favorites. I just that's so quotable. I have a buddy of mine. all we do, our whole conversations are just lines from that movie. We just have no real conversations. We just quote
You
that.
eat shit for breakfast?
Another classic. Another classic.
The best is the response to that line. He's just like, no.
He had to think about it too. He had to
Such,
think about it, man.
so big.
Yeah. Did you play video games at all?
Of course.
Did you see? Well, I guess the PGA game that they had on PlayStation, I think, or EA Sports. It was gosh, what's the main villain again? Happy Gilmore.
Uh, Shooter McGavin, I think.
Yes, Shooter McGavin was the cover guy.
Nice.
That
That's
was
so choice.
I was like, no way, Shooter McGavin, Shooter.
For those of you that haven't seen that, pause this podcast, go watch Happy Gilmore, and come back.
Gosh,
Because clearly you're not going to understand the rest of the episode.
I'm actually really disappointed in myself that I forgot that guy's name for a second. That's just getting old, dude. That's just me getting old.
Yeah, I mean, it's a deep cut from the 90s.
A lot of pizza rolls in the head, so.
I'll forgive you. Well, while we're on the topic, what media, whether it be book, graphic novel, TV show, or movie, have you been putting off that either is on your next to consume list or that you just consumed as it was spring break for you?
Dude, like I am a huge reality TV fan, and this thing was like, I, I one thing that, I'm not sure if you practice or not, but I am, I teach at a Catholic school, and so a lot of my kids that are at the school have given up something for Lent.
Nice.
And so one thing that I agreed to give up on, which is something that I consume a lot of, is reality TV. So for over 40 some days, I was without Love is Blind, The Bachelor, Bachelorette, Survivor, The Amazing
Suffering.
Race. It was really, really difficult. And so as soon as Easter was over, still in the Lent, I binged like Love is Blind on Netflix. I watched all episodes in like a day and a half. So many tears. And that was the last thing. But now I'm just like consuming everything, dude. Like Top Chef.
Voracious.
It's just well now. Actually, no. I've been watching a lot of K-dramas lately too. So that's kind of like in my head too, man. But yeah, a lot of Netflix, man. I just love it so much.
Love is Blind.
Have you seen it?
Love it. No. Well, wait. Hold on. Brief Google moment. I think I've watched an episode. I don't really mess with reality TV. I respect it. I used to think it was hot garbage.
Yeah.
And then as time's gone on and I've had to work jobs that just like eat every fiber of your brain for breakfast.
Yeah.
And you get home and you just need something in front of you that doesn't require thought, that just gives you some oxytocin back. Like, I'm like, no, I get it. Like reality TV is for the people that are grinding at life. Like their job is a grind. It's like that's who that's for, and I have like so much more respect for it. Not my bag, but I get it.
That's,
I
dude,
understand.
it's so true because I have a couple of buddies who are also teachers too, and I realized after having like many conversations with them in the cafeteria or in the break room that they are big watchers of reality TV too, and it was just so weird. We all had that in common, but that was exactly what they said. It was like, you're in a classroom, you're in 5 different conversations at the same time, and you're answering 1,000 questions a day, and you're grading papers nonstop. Sometimes you just like need like something where there's no thought process, and that's why
it's a dog whistle of a show.
Exactly.
Just, you're like, nice.
It's so true, man. So true.
Yeah. That sometimes sports, especially if you're kind of like during like the normal season, sports can be like that.
Yeah.
Sitcoms, rom-coms, it's just like something that gives you a little bit and it takes nothing from you. You're just like,
yeah.
It's a jacuzzi of the show for the mind. It's great.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah.
Speaking of jacuzzis, what poor man luxury do you still enjoy to this day?
Poor man luxury, dude. Pop-Tarts.
Fuck yes. All right, hold on. Before I accept that answer, what is your flavor of choice?
Dude, it is strawberry iced, man. You gotta have the okay.
I'll allow it.
Well, let me ask you.
There's 2 correct answers. It's strawberry and brown sugar. Those are the 2 answers that are acceptable. Everybody else needs to get the fuck out.
Well, you know what? Well, answer a question for me then, dude. Okay, so it for me, I toast my Pop-Tart, Everyone else in my house says you're not supposed to do that.
What the? Yes, you are.
I know, I know, I know. I have four kids and my wife, and they all think it's weird that I toast the pop. You're supposed to
What?
toast the.
What do they think they're supposed to do with them?
You just eat it like straight out the thing. It's
I
just.
mean, sure, but you're missing out.
No, I don't get it. But
It's like having a. It's like having a grilled cheese without grilling it. I mean, yeah, it's still gonna like function. It's bread, it's cheese, maybe a meat. Like it's still gonna be okay, but grilled cheese is meant to be grilled. A Pop Tart is meant to be popped
I
into the
know.
toaster.
I know. I don't understand.
You
I
need to
really don't.
educate these children, my friend.
It is. I was like, let's have like a taste test, session, or what's better, hot or cold. I mean,
Yeah,
it doesn't make
I
any
mean, you do have to let it cool off. That is a bit of a bummer.
sense.
You have to practice patience, which is an L that you have to accept. But like, it's so worth it.
I don't know. I don't get it, man.
Are they fans of gazpacho soup? Like, do they like things that are meant to be warm cold? Like, what is this?
I don't. It's weird. I really don't. Like, it's just like they just like grab it from the pantry, open it up, and just start eating it. I'm like, you're not gonna warm that up. Like, just put that in the. It's really quick, and they just don't. And I'm like, they're not. You're not supposed to do that. I'm like, who taught you that? Is that what it
Is
teaches
it
you?
is
In,
it weird to me that that is less like obviously toaster best out of the package. I'm not like okay with it, but it's passable.
it's
Somehow
passable.
microwaving it is worse than coming straight out of it. Like if they microwaved it, I would actually be more offended than if they ate
No,
it straight out of the
that's
package.
disgusting. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
you're not supposed to do
Thank you,
that
sir.
at all.
Do you have a life hack you'd like to share with the class to improve their daily living?
A life hack?
Yes, sir.
Um, well, you know what? Honestly, I'll give you a hack that I've learned recently.
Love it.
Is well, as a teacher, and during spring break, and you're not doing anything, and you need to earn a little more money. I was door dashing for a
Yep.
bit, and I learned quite a few things. Has a DoorDash. For one, always bring snacks because you never know when you'll be able to have some, and you're going to be around amazing, yummy food the whole day, and it's not yours. It's not your food. If
It
you
is
do
not.
eat it, you are fired. But
Yes.
also, plan as an older individual who's getting up there, man. Plan your bathroom breaks, dude. Seriously,
Yeah.
like as a teacher, sometimes you don't have time to use the restroom. You know what I'm saying? Because you're in between like classes. Kids come in every after a block of classes. You have like 5 minutes to hit the bathroom, but there's a long line of other teachers who are also using that bathroom. So you really need to plan your bathroom breaks, man. That's my life hack as you get older. Make sure
It might
you.
sound like prison, but it's actually heaven.
It is. It is.
All right. This one might be something you have to reach back in the memory banks for.
Mhm.
But if you're going out to a party and you want to look radical, other than your normal garb, what accessory do you add to your ensemble?
It's gotta be the hat, dude. I'm a bald man. I shave my head. I've shaved my head since I was like 24 because I was
Love it.
losing my hair because of too much Aquanet and is it Ellie Looks? Yeah, Ellie Looks. Yeah, I had that too in there, and it just fried my hair, dude. I dyed it so much, and it just started coming out. Decided to shave it all
Yeah.
off, and now instead of everyone staring at my shiny dome, I wear a hat, man. That's it. Just it helps me look young too. Like literally, my students think I look like in my 20s, but I'm not. It could be.
Same.
It could be.
How many hats you got? Let's compare hat game.
You know what, dude? I would probably say we have about 15. And they're all just like random like local sports teams. I do have
Love it.
uh,
Yes. The local is good.
yeah.
The low level is choice. That's for anybody out there that wants to up their hat game. Look for the like AAA ball teams.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, yeah.
They have because there's no sanctions. There's no like think tank going to their like their mascots or anything like that.
Yeah,
So they have the most nutter mascots that are nonsense,
yeah.
and there's like it's just Ted in accounting was like, what if we did a bulldog with a kazoo and a samurai sword? They're like, put it on the hat. It's just like send it out there, and you're just like, what the fuck? They're like, it's awesome, and you can buy them, and they're great, and they're usually pretty cheap, and nobody knows, and they just look fresh as shit.
I
It's
might
like
do that, man. I might do
S tier business. I highly recommend it.
that. Kazoo and Samurai Sword, I like it. I think
Yeah.
that's
That one doesn't exist yet, but it will soon.
well, someone's gonna hear this and then they just
Yeah,
took your idea.
exactly. Free use. Go for it. If you were a condiment, which do you think you'd be?
Gotta be ketchup, dude. I eat ketchup by the gallon. On eggs, on fries, on hash browns, on like everything. It's literally, I think I'm the only one who uses the ketchup in my house, honestly. Um, it's
That's a good thing too.
it is because like I'm not fine with everyone. Either that or soy sauce because I also love sushi. It's like one of my favorite things to eat. Is the reason why I couldn't go full on vegetarian and stayed pescatarian. It's because I could never say no to sushi. That was just the one thing I couldn't give up. So soy sauce and ketchup together, disgusting, separate, delicious. Yeah.
I was gonna say, are we about to have a meeting of minds and you're gonna
Yeah,
blow my socks off?
you won't see that on Food Network. No, not at all.
No, and for good reason.
Yeah, unless you want diarrhea. But...
Well, other than that tasty morsel, what life lesson do you wish you learned sooner?
Well, speaking of being bald, not using too much hairspray and gel, dude. Because the thing is, I miss my hair. Like, I hate, like, when, like, people, like, tag me on, like, old pictures from, like, high school, and I had this
Mm.
long, black, spiky hair, like, and how nice it was, and to look at not this, fractured, scarred up, bald head. It's kind of sad, dude. I mean, yes, I can buy a whole thing of shampoo, and it lasts me about a whole year now. But I kind of miss it, man. Like
Yeah,
I'm
no, I feel
jealous
it.
about the hair thing. So I would have been like, you know what? Let's not use too much of that. They don't have to go together. That when you're not going out anywhere, you don't have to fix your hair. Like shouldn't use more of that Pantene Pro V, get them split ends out. Really take care of that hair. I wish I paid more attention to that when I was younger, man.
For sure. Is that like fact that that's what causes that kind of thing, like the hairspray and stuff like that?
Well, I know it was a combination of all that stuff. I actually also like I used to dye my hair a lot. It was like blonde and red, and I was trying to be a Dragon Ball Z character way back in the day.
Love
And
it.
I fried my hair, and so literally, if I grew my hair out, there are spots on my head where it's just completely bald, and some that are not. So I would look like horrible. It'd just be like a cheetah, with like white and black spotty hair, man. So yeah, it was just.
All right, not to let you get away from that, but which DBZ character were we going for? We going Vegeta? We going Goku?
I mean, I'm going Goku, man. Come on now.
We're the hero.
Not the anti-hero like Taylor Swift, but yeah, the hero in this one.
Who's someone you've never met, alive or dead, that you'd like to have lunch with?
Someone alive or dead? Alive or dead? Oh, you know what? It would probably be Nick Jonas.
Love
And
it.
the only reason why I do that is because I would be like, look, Nick, my wife has this huge crush on you, and your music is playing through my Spotify, and it's ruining my top 10 at the end of the year. And I don't want to know that my number one, artist is you because it's not. It's not you. It's supposed to be Taylor or Billie Eilish. It's not you or your brothers. I don't care. And so I would like to please. And that's what I like to tell them. I'm like, look, I don't know what you do. How do you do it? You look, how are you that talented? I don't want to quote you saying jealous. I want to quote it and sing it back to you, but stay away from my wife, okay? Because she would definitely leave me for you. I would leave for you too. I mean,
That's awesome. In moments like that, when you look back at your Spotify playlist and Nick Jonas is just all over it, what's your favorite non-traditional curse word to utter in such a time?
oh, bananas, dude. And that's just a word I never thought I ever used. But I use it a lot lately, so I just be like, "That's bananas." The thing is, I'm a teacher now, and so I really, my bad words are all out of my vocabulary. I'm not saying any bad words. So if I have to say some type of frustration, it's like bananas, that's nuts. I never thought that I would.
Bananas is so great. It's got the right amount of syllables. You can put emphasis anywhere on it too. You can start like bananas, or you can go bananas.
That's true, and I mean honestly, it is like, have you play Mario Kart, right?
From time to time.
Okay, so how frustrated were you whenever you ran it over a banana? You were frustrated, right? It was
Furious.
like the most ridiculous thing to happen.
Livid.
So yeah, it's valid. You can cuss bananas because it's frustration. That was irritated me to no end, dude. Was the fact, especially if there were two bananas in a row and you ran into both of them and you're just spinning. No, that's horrible. I think using a food has a curse word. That's the thing to do now, man.
Yeah.
Nuts and bananas. That's good. Not just an oatmeal, but just
Yeah, just the next one's be kumquat.
no, that's true. Hey, well, that could be a thing, man. You drop some bombs, kumquat, and also kazoo and samurai, samurai sword. There's two
Yeah.
ideas that some people might take from you, man.
What's your favorite non-exercise thing that you have to force yourself to do?
Favorite non-exercise thing
Yes, sir.
that I have to force myself to do? Oh
You
man,
have to force yourself to do, but at the end of the day, you're like, you know what? I'm glad I did that.
um, make lists, dude.
No,
Make
not
lists.
not a natural list maker.
No, not really. My wife always makes a joke, and she's like, yeah, see, because we're two different type of grocery shoppers, right? Like, she's a shopper that makes a list of everything,
Oh, and
everything
you
that we
go, you're
need.
you're the vibes grocery shopper.
Me, I'm the
You're just
guy that
walking
goes.
around being like, you know
There's,
what?
I go in every aisle, man. Every aisle, even though I've never bought a sewing kit in my life, I'll walk in that aisle. I'll walk in that aisle and be like, "This might be the day. This might be the day I crochet." Uh, but no, yeah, it's so I decide like I have to make lists, and so when I do make a list of things I have to do during the day, it feels so rewarding to be able to be like I did that, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
that's one thing where it's like I hate to do it because I know it's a chore I have to do, but at the end of the day I'm like I'm glad I did that because I probably would still be in there in the grocery store looking
Just
at
wandering around aimlessly.
until
How
security
do you get out?
until security calls, it comes.
Yeah. Sir, there's an exit sign right in front of you. I see it. What inanimate object would you be best friends with were it sentient?
My best friend that is inanimate is Shelly. Shelly is my PlayStation 5. Um,
Love it. Shelly.
Shelly is my PlayStation. The thing is, like in my house, dude, like it's funny because I name all my consoles. So Shelly's a PS5. My new Switch is Chloe. Um, so it's like I'll say things like hey, hold on, not so close to Shelly. Let's not put all the Legos next to Shelly, okay? Because you might damage my save files. I'll just say, but everyone refers to my systems as either Chloe or Shelly, or Snowy, which is the Xbox. Yeah. So, but they will refer to them not by their actual console name, but by the nicknames I give them. So that if I would have to
Love
say that,
it.
video games have been my best friend for like forever, man. So I really do consider them like a best friend.
Love it. Hell yeah. When did you what was the first system you named and what was it named?
Um. Oh well, it had to be my Nintendo, man. It was my 3DS. I just called it Bestie. That's all it was. It was
Aww.
Bestie because it was like I mean, well, when I was young, man, like it was, I grew up in like a broken childhood, in a bad like in a I guess like in a broken home, and so the way that I would escape from like whatever's going on in the house and stuff, it was like my console, my video game systems would help me get through all those struggles. And so those systems, especially my 3DS, when I really got really hardcore into gaming, they were considered best friends, man.
Love it. Love everything about that. It's so pure. There's some of you out there that are like, that's pretty lame. Well, you're pretty fucking lame. That's adorable. Shut up. Who would you want to play you in a movie of your life? You can pick the time period of the actor and the time period of your life that they are showcasing.
A lot of people say this. If I had a nickel for every time someone said this, it'd be Ryan Gosling because we look so alike. No, I'm just kidding. It was more like Ryan Seacrest. I mean, no,
Still
no,
take that. That's a W.
Ryan Reynolds. No, any
Still
Ryan?
a W. Coming up, all W's, my friend.
No, no,
Go
no,
with a
no.
Ryan. Pick any Ryan.
No, honestly, it's like if anyone could play me, gosh, dude, that's a tough one. There is a football player who everyone always says I look like this guy. He played for the Steelers. His name was Hines Ward, and
Yeah.
and so yeah, he's Asian, and he's bald, and we're both kind of like have the same kind of build, except he has like millions of dollars. And I have millions of calories. Um,
Together we create one.
what a duo! But yeah, so like they always say like I'll get that when I used to work at a certain grocery store. Um, yeah, I had a few customers say like, you look like Heinz Ward. I'm like, yeah, Heinz Ward retired and started working at Whole Foods.
I think he would. That
Well,
seems
yeah,
like a place he could throw the carrots around.
he could real quick, clean up on
Lob a
outside.
gluten-free loaf of bread at you. Yeah,
Yeah, why not? Why not? But yeah, that's probably if they were gonna go straight to like someone who looks kind of like me. Yeah, the person who
sure.
had to play me would have to be Heinz Ward for sure.
Who would you want to play you if they were like an actual actor? Doesn't matter if
Um,
they look like you. Who you'd be like, you know what? They could get my mannerisms down, or I just like to see them do my life.
oh gosh. My my favorite actor, I would have to say, dude. You know what? I would go with Leo, man. Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah, boy.
I like to see that, dude. It was just kind of funny because I think Leo's one of those guys that he like put this whole like
Oh
being
yeah.
into the role. I mean, he does his like research. You know what I'm saying? Like, and and he can probably pull me off, man. He'd have to go bald. He'd have to gain like a lot of weight. He'd have to listen to a lot of Taylor Swift. Um,
I think that last one's the deal breaker.
it is.
You had him up until that last bit, and then he's like, tease me.
Yeah, he doesn't sound like a Taylor fan. He's more probably like
She's too old.
maybe yeah, yeah.
It's like,
Maybe
who
a
is this?
Grande fan.
Way
Maybe
too old.
he might be a.
So, what part of your life would you want him to showcase? What do you think would make the best kind of like movie story for you?
Um, it was this one thing that happened. Okay, so I coached basketball for like over like 25 years,
Hell yeah.
and there was this one time, and it really felt like a movie. It felt like a Disney movie. I think he can pull this one off. So I was
This golden
coaching.
retriever came into practice.
It's Air Bud. No, it's not. But it was I was coaching seventh grade girls team, and we had lots of losses that year. But there was one time when I was going through a tough time, when I was going through a divorce, and I was having a rough time, and my kids knew that because I was not the same. I was not the same, and we were losing in the fourth quarter by like 5 points. It's like the first place team, and I said, guys, it's a close game. You guys are doing, you guys are doing so good. Whatever happens, I'm proud of you. They came back and they won that game. And at the end of that game, one of the players stood up and said, "That was for you, coach."
Aww.
And like I started crying, man. But see, Leo,
Yeah.
Leo can pull that one off. Leo can kill that scene of just that timeout. He's like, "Here, run, guys, come on, huddle up, look. It doesn't matter what happens in this game. Who cares if we've only won 2 games all season?" He can pull that off. And the tear at the end when the
Yeah.
player says that was for you. He can do that. He can get that Oscar with that one, man.
I believe it. Okay, so real quick before we move on, while we're in the kind of the life category, I said in the intro you interviewed Elijah Wood.
Yeah, Elijah
What
Wood.
was the circumstance? How did that happen?
Well, the thing is that I was a podcaster for about like 5 years, and so
Right
I
on,
did
right on.
I did a podcast on like mental health and nerd culture, and just like how people use nerd culture to help deal with like their mental health issues, whether it's anxiety, depression, and things they would nerd out to. So, I've interviewed quite a lot of people on what they like to nerd out to. Things that probably they don't talk about that much because people don't know that about them. And so, I've done a lot of red carpet events, and there's one red carpet event where Elijah Wood was like promoting a documentary that he was working on in the Napa Valley. So I was at the film festival, and he was there, and there was like no one showed up to this like red carpet thing because they didn't realize he would be there,
Oh shit.
and it was just a documentary that no one really talked about. So when I got there, just because I was in the area, like there was literally like 9 people there, and he just rolled up by himself, and I was like in awe. Like
Yeah.
it was pretty ridiculous. It was just luck, really, because
That's sweet.
yeah. So there was, you know, that was pretty cool, to talk
That's
about
fucking
his
awesome.
yeah.
How was he?
Well, he's no dude. He's a nice dude, man.
Sick.
And
You love to
it
hear
would
it.
have crushed me though. Like you worry about that sometimes. Like where if you see one of your favorite people ever in the world, like favorite
Hmm.
artist, favorite singer, and you meet them and they're like a complete jerk to you and it changes like your view of them,
Yeah.
you always worry about it. No, he wasn't. He was like the nicest
Sweet.
dude, man. Nicest dude.
That's awesome. Is there a job at some point in your life you wanted to pursue but are very glad you didn't?
Oh man. Dude, one of my dream jobs, dude, was like when I was younger, was like I wanted to work at GameStop. Like I wanted to.
Man, sorry. As a kid who had similar notions, children are fucking stupid. Holy shit.
you, can you imagine though, like the back then that was like the cool job, but you see, like no one is ever in GameStop anymore, dude. There's
Yeah.
like
Not only is
no,
no one ever in GameStop, the people in GameStop are not wanting to be in
they don't
GameStop.
want to be there either. I mean, and it's so sad. Like I see so many TikToks of like what GameStops look like now. It is like the most depressing
Yeah.
scene. Like so, it's like
Well, it
I
turns
would,
out when you just scalp all of the people that come in and try to sell you games
yeah. So
and sell games at outrageous prices.
like it was a brand new game. We're gonna give you credit. We're gonna give you $3 for this new game you just bought. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
great. Let's do it. But it's crazy. But like when I was a kid, I was like, man, like I would love to work there. I was like, if I was a manager at GameStop, but now I'm like, dude, who works there? No one, I'd rather be that
Dodge
guy.
that bullet.
I'd rather be the guy in the corner spinning that arrow to get you to look at a house.
Don't need a gym membership with that job.
No, no, no.
All right, lastly, before we throw it to commercial break, if you could have listeners of this podcast hear one song of your choosing, which would it be?
Had to be "Anti-Hero," man, by Taylor Swift. That song is so catchy. It doesn't matter. Whenever it comes on, I'm singing it loudly and proudly. Has a bald man in his 40s should in their
Yeah.
car while door dashing Subway to your business or your house that has a lawn that has weeds that are 5 feet tall. And, me realizing I'm going in there and forgetting that I didn't take any Claritin. So, thank you for
That's
that
so
dollar
funny.
tip. Thank you
Whee!
there.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Uh, well, with that, we're going to throw it to our first break. Feel free to stick around and enjoy this totally real commercial, or take a minute to enjoy Antihero by Taylor Swift. Or if you really wanted to hear a song from a previous episode, check out the playlist on Spotify. Passionate People and Preposterous Peeve Podcast, Song Rex. It's a long title, I know. Don't worry, there's a link in the description. Either way, see you in a jiffy. Hey, you. Yes, you. Yes, I'm talking to you. Have you ever wanted to record audio? Or perhaps fiddle with recorded audio? Maybe even record audio of a fiddle and then fiddle with said audio? Well, now you can with Audacity? With all the run-of-the-mill bells and whistles, you'll be confusing yourself with a tech in no time. But won't that cost lots of money? Because with my snow-blowing habit, I can only afford it. Ain't gonna cost shit. Audacity is free and easy enough to use that even a snow-blowing son of a gun can use it too. Welcome back, everybody. So, Dan, I gotta know before we get into the normal second segment biz here. Kind of came to mind. You must have at least one fantastical story from door dashing.
I do. It was one of the first things that I actually had a DoorDash. The app popped up, gave me a notification. I had to go to 7-Eleven to get this item. And I went to 7-Eleven. I was all excited because one of my first like orders, and I was like, oh, this is cool. It's like a video game. It's like Crazy Taxi. I don't know if you ever played that game. But so I get there, and it's just like, they put it in a bag. It was a very light bag, and it was one item. And I was like, what is in there? Like, what am I delivering at this hour? This is so weird. And I look, and it's Trojan condoms. Um, so apparently, someone was at home and got really a little too much Netflix and chill. Realized that they did not have any prophylactics, and they didn't want to leave the house. They didn't want to leave the house. They pulled up their door dashing app and they sent me to go get them. Um, and I dropped them off, and there's strict instructions: do not ring the doorbell,
Yeah.
do not knock, come quietly as you can, and just lay it on my mat. Which I was like, wow, things are going down. And I put it on there, and I was like, and I felt good. I'm like, I did a service, I did a good deed. You know what I'm saying? Like, I helped whoever was in there, and
Yeah.
then I checked my app. They didn't give me a tip. The fact that instead of them just doing just the tip, for
Yeah.
me, they could put the whole thing in.
Oh, the irony.
So hey,
Also, it's hilarious to me. They need something immediately, and yet they don't want like the most like quick notification. They want you to place it quietly, walk back, and then do this thing that is going to, at the very least, light up their phone, or more likely, make noise. So it's like, why aren't you just ringing the doorbell? Like, why do they not want you to ring the
it
doorbell?
was just really, really, really weird. And so that just gives me another point. Like, if you guys DoorDash out there, I'm pretty sure, and you're DoorDashing weird stuff, or you're DoorDashing and like it's the same thing every time. You're getting the same DoorDasher because that happens.
Mm-hmm.
They're probably judging you. Like, I'm just telling you. Like, I literally was like, oh my gosh, I'm delivering this, and they gave me no tip. Seriously, I helped you out, bruh.
One homie to another. What the fuck?
Come on, man. I feel like we got eliminated in the spelling bee. Um,
Well, back to our regularly scheduled programming. Daniel, what is your passion that you've brought with you today?
my passion is video games, man. I've been a game player since I was a kid, and one of the things that I hate I hate is when they say that video games, you still play video games, you're too old to play
For
video games.
kids.
Do you know that all the video games that I could not afford when I was a kid, I could afford them now
Yeah.
as an adult? So since I have that money, I can use that money to buy the games that I never had. So
Hell
this is
yeah.
prime time to
Yep.
buy and play video games, man, because you have the money instead of just calling your buddy up who might have had the new game before you, who had Mortal Kombat when we were kids, and it had the blood code. You were able to play bloody Mortal Kombat when you didn't have it because you didn't have the money to get it, and you went to their house so you can play it. Now you can do that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I always get offended personally when someone's like, "You're too old to play video games." Like, no, no one is too old. No
Yeah.
one's too old.
No.
No one is like it. Literally, like
You wouldn't say that if you were watching a Disney movie.
no,
You wouldn't say that if somebody was eating an ice cream cone.
no.
You wouldn't say that if somebody was like playing on a swing.
Yeah, it's
You
like
know, sans it being like the little kid swing, in which case, how'd they get their legs through those little holes? But like a normal swing, you wouldn't be like, what are you doing? Those are for kids. It's like, let them live their best life.
the thing is like also too like I remember like there are times when like I think early college years, dude, where I've had to explain it to like people who I was dating at the time. Like, girls would literally get like offended. Like, why are you still playing this? You're still playing video games? I'm like, yes. Where would you rather be? Would you rather me be out at the bars, at the club? You know where I'm at. I'm at home with a headset on. You know what I'm saying? Where would you rather have me like knocking down shots at the club? Like, no, you know where I'm at. I'm in the Call of Duty lobby right now.
You can find me
You can
anytime.
find me after this raid, like
What was your first video game that you ever played?
it has to be Super Mario and Duck Hunt, man. It was like that was my first
Oh,
game.
we are going OG, OG.
It is.
All
That's
right.
why I'm loving the fact that Super Mario, that movie made so much money, you know what I'm saying? Because Super Mario, Mario has like a soft like spot in my heart, dude. And it was just
Yeah.
watching that film in the theater and just the music, the nostalgia that came in, man, like it was just I I loved it so much. So the fact that he was up there on the screen and getting the respect. Yes, I know Chris Pratt was the voice. Everyone didn't like that, but you know what? I couldn't even tell. I couldn't even tell it was Chris Pratt. But I mean,
Awesome.
it was Super Mario for sure. I mean, that was like my favorite. Yeah, that was the first video game I ever played.
So you get started, you're born. So you get that game 92,
Yeah,
91.
yeah, real way, way, way back then. Yup.
Yeah. So were your parents on board with it? Did you have to save $1 for like 20 years? Like how did?
No, yeah, it was like I remember I asked like that for Christmas for like forever, and then my father took me to I don't know what I don't know if it was a Sears or something like that, and he said he had a surprise and he got it for me, and it
Aw.
came with Mario and Duck Hunt came with the system, but it was like that was my only game for a very 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 long time, so I knew the ins and outs of that game real well, but that was the first game, yeah, that I ever played, man, and it was. I still, I still have one, not the original one I had back then, but I
Hmm.
just got it one probably about 2 months ago.
Love it. So you get that when you were a kid. What was the do you remember like was there a defining game for you that really like changed the way you operated, you saw things, either via hanging out, playing with friends that, what is there a game growing up or even later that kind of left the biggest impact, do you think?
It'd probably be Final Fantasy 6,
Okay.
or Final Fantasy 3, in I guess in the US. But like,
Respect for not going for the classic Final Fantasy 7.
no,
What
you're right.
about 3 and 6 revolutionized your life?
Well, that was the first like RPG I ever played, man, and I think I did not
Uh,
know that games could do that. Like it
yeah.
was totally different where it was all story. It was like this grind and the characters and like the chemistry between the characters, and it was just different than anything I've ever played. You know what I'm saying? And from that point on, like I just became an RPG fan. That's like my favorite genre of like game is RPGs. So that's where my love of like that genre came from.
RPGs, for those of you who are sadly not in the know, are role playing games. Role playing games are usually you build a character from scratch or you kind of inhabit a character and you get to like live very much in their world. So it's a
Mhm.
very kind of vicarious circumstance where you get to be this other thing and experience something that you wouldn't necessarily do in your normal life, whether it be, gender swapping, whether it be, living the life of a hero if you're a janitor, or, living the life of a janitor if you're like a sports athlete.
Yeah.
It's, there's plenty of different ways you can do, and there's so much fulfillment in that. Has that, changed either the way you saw the world, or did that change, like, have you gone out and done like D&D or any like kind of IRL role playing?
Well, the thing is, like, I think that one thing I realized after playing since that was my first RPG, I started playing like other like massive ones, online games, like World of Warcraft, and like I realized that the friends that you make in those type of worlds are absolutely real friends. They're not just people that you play with. I've actually had meetups with people that I've played video games with. A couple of them went to my wedding, so. Um,
Awesome.
so I know that people are like, well, I think it gets a bad rap sometimes. Like, oh, those aren't like real friends. Like, no, they really are.
Oh, yeah, they are.
They really are. I mean, you get to know them while you're winning these lobbies, like Call of Duty. You're conversing over your headsets or whatever, or in World of Warcraft when you're building parties and stuff like that. You become friends. You get invested in their lives, and they get invested in yours. And so real friendships happen, man. So that's another thing that would bother me when people say like, yeah, these people are not your real friends. Like, no, man, they're real friends.
Yeah, my brother has a couple friends that he moved from Nevada years back now up to Seattle, and he had a couple friends who lived up there who he was. I don't remember if guildies or if they were just people that he knew via Discord and that they would jam games all the time. And one of them came down from Canada and helped him move.
See, that's
So
crazy.
yeah, to all you haters out there, go fuck yourself and open your eyes a little bit.
Yeah.
What would you say is the biggest misconception about video games and or role-playing games by the wider world?
One thing is I've done a lot of research on this. Like, it's not guys who play the most video games.
Mm-hmm.
It's girls, and
Yep.
it's women because and that's due to what's in everyone's pocket right now is their cell phone. So if
Yes,
you
sir.
actually do the research, and I've actually did a report on this in college, was there's a higher percentage of females who play video games than guys, which is crazy. I did not know that. Um, and my wife, she would make jokes about that. She would say, like, "Gosh, are you playing video games on your phone?" I'm like, "What are you playing right there?" What is that? Oh, yeah, that's a video game on your phone, huh? I just proved my point, huh? Was that a Nick Jonas game? What is that? You know? Oh, but yeah, that's the biggest misconception is that only guys play video games, man. Like it's not
Yeah.
that way anyway anymore.
No, and it's a lovely thing to see as a somebody that grew up as a nerd, a sweaty dungeon nerd, seeing girls get into the space, and it's very beautiful to see it kind of
Yeah,
coming full circle and like people get like of all walks of life getting
I
involved.
love it. Yeah.
In movies and TV, there's plenty of showcasings of video games, whether it be like Mario being on the screen or people like playing video games in, you know, just casually or in like a tournament styled setting. Is there are there examples that you can think of where they show video games in a way that like was irksome and other ways that they showed them where it was surprisingly correct?
Huh. Well, the one thing I hate is that a lot of like video game movies are not done right. You know what I'm saying? Like you can like count how many movies have been out that are based on video games, and most of them suck.
What
Um,
do you mean by done right? Do you mean that it's just like not appealing to you,
just like
or
the thing is like it. I guess you could say it's kind of like when it comes to like Marvel or like DC, where it's like, are you being true to like the comic book, or are you coming up with something else? Like video games, are you following the lore of the game, or are you making up a whole new story?
mm,
So one thing that would bother me is the way they did it. Some of the games that, like, for example, what movie was it? There was a like Sonic, right, or Detective Pikachu, or
okay.
that's not really the world that I would see Pokemon in, or the way they look. Some of them look horrible. Like they were horrifying. Like Mr. Mime was like horrible looking, dude. Like he was like the stuff in nightmares. Like he looked like the dude from Saw. Um, so like it's not the same. So it's like I know it's a fine line to choose because like who are you trying to satisfy? The hardcore gamer that or the hardcore comic book reader or just the people who are just like casual fans, you know? So when I see someone do it right and actually like like for example like if you saw Mario, which I highly recommend, the beginning of that movie was not too different from the one that came out in the 90s with John Leguizamo and Bob Hoskins. It wasn't that different. There was a lot there that was very similar. So I thought they did it right. And the music and some of the characters and the way they acted in certain situations, it was very, very true to the actual game. So I love that. But like a movie like Warcraft, which was like horrible because of all context and all like maybe too much lore that was not for any type of viewer, fan or casual fan. That's where it irritated me because then now people get they think of like Warcraft as like it gives them a bad rap
Hmm.
basically. So if you're gonna do the game, you have to really think about who you're trying to sell it to.
So that's one aspect of it that's being shown incorrectly, where it's either you know cloying and reaching for either the diehard fans or complete randoms, and you're trying to get every bucket in the seat, which makes sense monetarily but not artistically.
Yeah.
On the flip side of that, what are the ones that it looks like where you're like, yeah, is it just the Mario's where they they did honor to the product, or are there some other aspects that you really like seeing when it comes to representation?
One was I actually was a huge fan of the Mortal Kombat movie that came out, the last one that came out. Where that was like a lot of the lore was correct there. I mean, I didn't like they did introduce a character that didn't exist in the actual world, but I wasn't really bothered by that. But the characters there were pretty similar, and there were actual fatalities that you play in the game were actually shown in the movie. So that was one that I thought was done right. Also, it's actually kind of a funny story. That movie came out kind of like when the pandemic was like really really strong still,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember we wanted to watch that movie. It came out in the theaters, and you could rent a theater out back then. Like during that time, like to make sure you were safe, you could rent out a whole like theater and like just fill it with your friends, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had like 20 friends come in, and we watched the movie, and two of my kids came, and I was like, oh no, it should be fine. they're 12 years old. It's probably not even that bad of a movie. The first 5 minutes, there was beheadings, there was blood spot, there was people getting their spines ripped out, and I was like, oh my god, we're the worst parents in the world. And I'm like looking at my kids, and everyone knows that those are my kids because it's everyone. My friends are in that, and they're looking at me, and my kids are looking at me like this is the coolest ever. Okay, I did okay then, but it's like
Whoops.
I get home and like Child Protective Services is at my door. I don't know.
What would you say is your favorite non-obvious aspect to playing and just enjoying video games?
I think it's just also kind of what reality TV does for me. Sometimes there are games that you play that you have to be all in your mind. You have to focus. You have to like really really pay attention. And there's some other games that you play where like you're just numb. You're just numb, but you're just playing it to help yourself get back to center. And so I have games for that too. And so I think that's one thing it does for me that I don't really realize. Um, I mean I play quite a bit of video games, man. Like I would probably say at least like 3 hours a day. If I go from like doing my lesson plans at school for my class the next day, and after that I go straight into like turning on Shelly, which sounds kind of creepy, but um,
Only if your wife hears you.
I don't know.
All right. So for those that are uninitiated or those that are looking for a recommendation, what games would you recommend that you for turning your brain off?
The
Doesn't have to be current, just ones that you think are great for just kind of chilling.
games like they have to do like with farming, dude. Like Stardew Valley or like Harvest Moon. And it was just so weird that those games are like so popular where it's like you're literally just farming crops, selling them, and then using that money to buy more things that help you grow more crops more efficiently. It's like the weirdest like thing, but it's so peaceful, dude. Like, I mean, I've literally said in my household out loud, guys, stop. I'm trying to make sure I'm watering my radishes right. I've said that out loud, and I'm proud of saying that. But yeah, I mean, those type of games, like when I don't want to think about anything and I can just focus, and it just takes you to a whole new world where you're actually a farmer. Um, that like is actually really peaceful and calming, man. Have you ever played a game like that before?
It's been a while. I
Yeah, like those kind of. I remember there were, like on back then on phones, people used to play Farmville all the time, and that's
I guess
like,
the closest thing I would have done is like Clicker Hero or something like
oh
that.
yeah, okay,
Like an
yeah.
auto clicker game where you're like slowly leveling up this thing. That one's kind of fun and like pretty mindless. It's not quite like farming, but it's kind of close.
Yeah, it is. It's like you're not really thinking, you're just like
Yeah.
doing it, It's just like you're not really, you're not it's not gonna change your day if you're not doing it right.
Yeah, exactly. So for the other one, the ones that you're talking about where you like to like really get into it, what are some of the ones you'd recommend for people that are either looking for a new game or, they haven't come across one that really tests their brain? What's one that like you really like it allows you to like kind of sink your teeth deep into and really just
Oh
enjoy the
man.
hell out of it?
It's like kind of controversial nowadays, but it's the new Harry Potter game, man. Um
Yeah.
that game is like if you're a Harry Potter nerd, like I am, um, that game is awesome. Because the decisions that you make in the game affect like the whole world. So, and the other characters don't forget. And so you really have to pay attention to conversations, how you do certain quests. So I can't just go in there and not thinking about what I'm doing. I really have to come with a plan. Um, that kind of game right there. That's the game I think where it's like if I'm like I have all my focus, that's the game I will play. It's also exhausting because you're constantly thinking about that. Like because it's a difficult game too. I mean, it's really challenging. So it's like it's not one of those games where you can actually play it and feel more anxious and stressed out after it. Um, not good for my mental health. So, but yeah, that game right there. If you haven't played it, I would definitely play that game.
So, perfectly segues into my last question before we leave this lovely topic. for those who are listening and going, I do want to try it. I've heard video games. You know what? This guy's making some good points. For those who haven't tried out video games, what are some recommendations that you have for like to, as a first attempt? Feel free to span and hit any game that you think fits.
Oh man. Oh, okay. Well, there's a couple games that I like to play with like my kids. Any Mario game, there is a game called Overcooked, which is basically everyone is a chef and they're in charge of like a certain job, and like your kitchen is constantly changing. There might be hot lava coming out of some area, and it's your job to make sushi and avoid this lava. And everyone has their own job. So you can say, hey, you're in charge of washing the dishes because we can't put it on a plate unless you wash the dishes. You're in charge of making the soup because we can't serve this meal without the soup. And usually everyone, every kid pays attention and does their job, but then one kid comes in and grabs a fire extinguisher and just kind of ruins everything. But that's a fun game because I think it's a great family activity if you play those kind of games. If you play like Mario Kart, it's wholesome like family fun, honestly. Um, I would recommend games like that because then like it kind of opens your world to like if you've never played a Mario game and you played Mario Kart, well, what is Mario about? There's a Mario game for everything. There's a Mario soccer game. I mean, there's a Mario like Mario versus Sonic Olympic game. Like, um, literally, if you went down his catalog with Mario in it, you would probably find every type of genre. There's an RPG game that's all Mario. Paper Mario is like an RPG game. So it's like that's who I would follow. Is like if you're really interested in video games and to see the actual benefit of using or playing video games, it would be Mario because um, the violence is comical. There's no GTA type stuff going on in there. You know what I'm saying? And it's bright, it's colorful, and it's funny. So I mean, I would recommend anything by Mario.
Sweet. Well, it's time to go from the fun to the frustrating. Daniel, what is your preposterous peeve?
You know what it is? Look, I love coffee. I love coffee so much. The smell of it, I get excited. Starbucks, if I'm in a mall and I just happen to like stroll by it, like it hypnotizes my feet to walk into it. My pet peeve is when people talk about never ever having caffeine and they're extremely proud of it. Um, as a father with four kids and a teacher who, with three classes and the numerous conversations I have and the questions I ask, I need all the caffeine in the world. Like seriously, I need it, or I wouldn't be able to function. So when I say, "Hey, we're about to do a Starbucks run. What would you like?" Like, oh no, no, no. I don't drink coffee. I don't need it. I wake up and I'm already ready to go. I'm like, okay, well, you know what? Did you want a cookie for that one? Because I will have your drink then. Okay, because that's ridiculous, because I get it, but I mean, we all need like a little pick me up sometimes, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, I just don't like being shamed because I drink, coffee, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, like my favorite, thing on my Christmas list is Starbucks cards. So what? So what? I have 27 mugs that are all the same color. So what?
Man knows what he wants.
Exactly. Give me the Green Maiden.
Yeah. I'd go see that band, Green Maiden. Yeah,
Oh yeah, the Green Maiden.
supply
Yeah.
fire.
But you drink coffee, right?
Just every morning.
Yeah. See everyone, but yeah, I mean, you've run into people who act like that, right?
No, it's the worst. Like, I'm happy for you that you don't have this addiction, but also go fuck yourself. Like, yeah, like, cool. I'm glad God gave you an extra dash of pick me up, but He left me a little high and dry, and or I burned those synapses, and I need to burn more of them. So, step back unless you want to get swung on. Just, like, fuck off.
Like, yes, I don't
Like
want.
anybody, especially with the like, I understand. Like, oh no, I'm good. Like, or no, I don't drink coffee. Like, saying it, fine. But what you're saying, what I'm hearing is the like, oh, I don't need it. Like, it's like this subtle way of saying I'm better than you. It's like,
Yeah,
yeah, I'll show you how much better you are after I have this cup of coffee and come hands.
I know. Seriously, it's like, yes, I would like to spend extra $7 every day, every morning.
Do you have a story of when this really just rung your bell, or just infuriated you to the max?
Well, you know what's weird? It's one of my best friends, she never ever, for her, we would get in these debates, not over just like her not drinking coffee, but she was so against coffee because she was a tea person. And it just became like this like battle over like what was better, coffee or tea, And I'm like, no, that sounds disgusting. You're putting a soppy bag into some water, like, and then she would say things like, well, look at yours. Yours is like poo. You're drinking poo water. It would just be this bag. She'd be like, poo water. I'd be like, soppy bag. It would just be this back and forth. Yeah, and I would give her the benefit of the doubt. Yeah, let me try your tea. It tastes like water. It doesn't do anything. Okay, coffee. It tastes like it's bitter. It's delicious. I should just grab a Crystal Geyser bottle of water, warm it up in the microwave. That's tea. That's what that is. There's no flavor. So we just go back and forth on that battle of like what is better. I mean, do you drink tea at all?
I have no problem with tea. The people that kind of get snobby about it, this is one of those things that like the first person to get snobby about it deserves to get slapped in the face. The second person should have the esteem to not do it and just be like, cool, and disassociate from them. So I feel like it's kind of, for me, it's very much like yucking somebody else's yum. It's like, if you're not into it, you're not into it. But like, it's kind of like, if the way I look at it is, to each their own. But the second you poo-poo somebody else's, you can go fuck yourself. If you're hanging out with a friend at a mall, let's say you're either under the influence, young and stupid, whatever, and you look at somebody of whatever sex you find preferable, and you just go, look at the blank on that person. Ass, haircut, feet, I don't care. And the other person goes, ugh, they're the asshole. You can find whatever you want appealing as long as they are of, right age and mind and whatever. Like, as long as you're not committing a crime, as long as you're not looking at, a 4-year-old man like, ugh, it's like, who cares? Are they 18 or older? Are they of sound mind and body? Like, let them be attracted to that thing. Don't be a dick.
Yeah,
let people enjoy life.
I had a friend who same friend who it was really weird because yeah, drinking tea can sometimes, like, these battles, like, it almost come off as she was kind of snobby because we were at a restaurant, and I was like, yeah, it was breakfast time, and I was like, yeah, I'll just have a coffee. And so they're like, what would you like, miss? Do you have Earl Grey tea? Or do you have Fist of the Morning Star? Or do you have Whispering Willow of China?
Okay, one of those
tea?
is an anime.
Yeah, exactly. Fist of the Morning Star. It was like, and then she was like, you don't have Fist of the North Star? It was just this weird, like, what is this establishment that you don't have Fist of the North Star tea? It is the third most ranked tea on this side of the continent, and you don't have it. And it was just like, this is ridiculous. I just asked for, like, your medium roast.
I respect somebody having a preference, but to get like put out by it, like the only way you can get put out if you go into a restaurant or especially like a coffee place is if like, do you have water? And they're like, no. Like, all right, what the fuck? Like, if you went into like a Starbucks, you're like, do you have black coffee? And they're like, we don't serve that here. Like, okay, you have the right to get offended. But when you start asking for something that is likely just not on the menu, which should be an indicator that they probably don't fucking have it, you don't get to be offended. If you go into McDonald's and you're like, do you have a chicken McNugget? They're like, we don't serve those here. You can burn the place down. It's fine. But like, you can't. Like...
It's like, I told my friend, like, we're at IHOP. I mean, they serve pancakes.
They asked for Fist of the North Star at IHOP?
Yes.
That's a bold move, Cotton. Let's see how it pans out.
Yeah, great. We're getting our pancakes spit on because of you.
It'll add more flavor and arguably more nutrition. Yeah. So, with that delicious notion, we're going to head to our second ad break. But don't go anywhere, because when we get back, Daniel's going to enter the lightning round. Have you ever just looked at fried carbs on a plate and thought, I need to eat those, but it doesn't taste all that appetizing? Introducing catsup. Catsup is a sugary and red syrupy paste that'll overshadow any unappreciated taste. Simply douse the unpreferred tasting object and ingest. Mmm.
Thanks, catsup.
And we're back. Dan, are you ready to enter lightning round?
The lightning round.
I was born for this, man.
All right, buckle your seatbelt and keep your arms inside the ride at all times. Dan, is there a price for you to give up your passion forever?
No.
Make the food or do the dishes?
Do the dishes because I suck at everything. I burn water. So.
Did you ever cheat on a test in school?
Never. I never did. Ever.
Are you out of touch or is it the children who are wrong?
I'm out of touch because I'm that grumpy old man who says get off my lawn. So it's probably me. It's me.
Would you rather have your inner monologue sound like Gilbert Gottfried or Fran Drescher?
Oh God, they're both horrible, but I have to go with Gilbert Gottfried.
That's the right answer.
Yeah.
Would you rather read the cue cards while wearing the crown or live in a hovel and speak your mind?
Live in a hovel and speak my mind. Yeah, be the crazy person walking around.
Is professional wrestling cool or lame?
It's the coolest if you smell what The Rock is cooking. Are you kidding me, dude?
Yeah, baby! You're having the best day of your life. What happens next? Another amazing thing or something terrible?
Something terrible because I'm extremely paranoid, so something is going to go wrong.
Nick Cage, best or worst ever?
I think I would say best. I mean, he's a classic. I still love Nick Cage.
Bears, Beats, or Battlestar Galactica?
I would say Bears.
Do you create your own thoughts or do you just listen to them?
I create my own thoughts, and I'm very embarrassed. I'm glad that no one could read my mind because if you did, it would be pretty sad.
Do you believe in love at first sight?
I do. That's why I love Love is Blind so much.
Album, shuffle, or playlist?
Ooh, back to my LimeWire days. Yeah, man, playlist, dude. You download and get all the viruses you want.
Beatles or Elvis?
Go with Beatles, dude. Go with the Beatles, man. One of my favorite records I have on vinyl, yeah.
Would you rather the checkout line never had a line or the fast food place always gave you a large fry when you asked for a medium?
Oh, large fries. French fries are my favorite food. So if there's any way I can get a bigger size of them, I will get it. I'll take it.
Would you rather have the superpower to travel into the vastness of space or the darkness of the ocean depths?
Into space. As a science teacher, I absolutely love the solar system.
Cake or pie?
Cake. Oh my God, every day, every hour.
Is there such a thing as a perfect piece of art?
Yes, there is. It would be my wife.
Nice. Have you ever had a crush on a cartoon character?
Jessica Rabbit's kind of fire, I'm not gonna lie.
My guy. What is more important, freedom or structure?
Oh, structure. I am not a leader, so please someone show me the way. I'll just follow you.
All right, you're on death row. Your last meal options are a Whopper with cheese, onion rings, and a Sprite, or a 3-piece chicken strips with mashed potatoes, gravy, a biscuit, and a Dr. Pepper.
It would have to be the Whopper, but it has to be one of those Beyond Meat burgers. I don't eat meat, so I would not eat the chicken strips. But Whopper, Beyond Meat.
Stay the executioner.
Yeah.
Excuse me, sir. It needs to be a
There's a
Beyond
Beyond
Burger.
Meat patty back there.
Will we make it to an interplanetary species, or will we destroy ourselves?
Probably, due to climate change. Again, this is science talking. I think we're going to destroy ourselves.
Would you rather be the best underpaid actor or the best underpaid dancer in the world?
Underpaid actor for sure. I could dance, but I'd break a hip.
Would you rather have tentacles for arms or kangaroo legs?
God, tentacles. This brings too much anime into my head. I would.
Anime? Sure it is.
We'll leave it at that.
Could you eat 37 of your favorite food for $5,000 in a 1 hour time limit?
I sure can, man. There's so many different kinds of fries: curly fries, French fries, hash browns, anything potato.
Anything potato, he says. Well, congratulations. You've survived the lightning round.
Thank you. Thank you.
Woo!
Thank you. Yes.
As a reward, I now give you the option to ask me, and in turn, future guests, one lightning round question of your own making.
All right, sir. This is for you, Ike. Would
Hit
you
me.
rather spend 2 years in jail or live with an ex for 6 months?
I would have no problem living with my last ex for 6 months.
Wow.
She might. I wouldn't. No, we left on relatively amicable terms, as one can when you break up. But yeah, I think 6. One, time is precious. I'm assuming I'm not getting paid, so this is a hell of a bill to rack up. But yeah, 6 months, I think. What about yourself?
Gosh, that's a tough one, man. Honestly, yeah, to deal with my ex, I could just feel the guilt trip right now.
Yeah,
I just,
you'd also have to talk with your current
yeah,
wife and be like,
it would.
"Do you trust me for 6
I was
months?"
like, oh gosh, no, I'd have to go with jail, man. Honestly,
Just looks at the bailiff. Take me to jail.
give me the orange suit and fine.
Yeah, I think you'd look good in orange.
It goes well with bald heads.
Can I wear my cap? That's all.
Yeah.
All right, man. As we come to a close here, anything you want to plug, shout outs you'd like to give, places people can find you or your content?
Yeah, well, I used to podcast quite a bit. It was a podcast called No Ordinary Nerd. It's been a long time, but I'm on IG with just my name, Daniel DAYO, DANIELDAYAO, and on TikTok with the same. So, thank you so much for having me on the show, Ike. This is so awesome.
Oh, it's my pleasure, man. Thank you so much for coming on. Well, thank you, Daniel, for being my guest today, and a special thanks to my editor, Richard Ashford, and my composer, Joshua Gibbons. And thank you. Yes, you. Listening at home right now or wherever you found the time to appreciate this. Time really is the most precious commodity we have, and I appreciate you spending yours with us. And if you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe, like, or just share it with a friend. Every little bit helps. Or if you already have and are out of episodes to listen to, don't worry. We put out a new episode every Monday at midnight on SoundCloud, YouTube, Spotify, and iTunes at Passionate People and Preposterous Peeves Podcast. And a very special thanks are due to our patrons, Sibel Yellow. If you'd like to join said illustrious ranks and have your name read aloud, just head on over to patreon.com/Passionate People and Preposterous Peeves Podcast. And remember, folks, if days are numbered and songs are sung, at the end of the day, I think we've all won. So please stick around, because great things have only just begun.